What's up, Navigating Academia family? This is Dr. J. Phoenix Singh coming to you now in 2021. Screw you, 2020. Bye-bye. We're now in 2021. I am super excited to be able to be here with you for an entirely new year of episodes of our channel. You guys are the best, just the absolute best audience that I could hope for. So thank you so much. I know you keep coming back for the turtlenecks, my strategic use of the word bullshit, and also jackets like this one. So thank you so much for coming and visiting me and spending some time. Today's question comes from Jess. Jess, thank you so much for watching. You asked great questions, and I really appreciate you doing that. If you guys have a question that you would like me to answer, if I judge it to be high sensitivity enough, meaning that the several thousand subscribers that we've got would all benefit, then please do feel free to put it down in the comment section below, and I'm going to try to answer it as soon as I can for you by making a response video like this one. And if it's high specificity, meaning it's specifically about you, then what I want you to do is to basically still place it below, but you can also contact me one-on-one via the website below and set up a consultation session with me. Now, this year I'm going to be doing consultation a little bit differently than in previous years. I'm basically going to have one day during each week where I'm going to be doing consultation, and those are the only consults that I'm going to do. Last year I was doing tons of consults every single week, and I didn't have a structured schedule, and ironically that's one of the things we're going to be talking about right now. So this was a question that was posed by Jess, like I said, and Jess left this comment on a video that I'd made, which was how to select a letter of recommendation, how to select letter of recommendation writers for postdoc applications. And Jess says, loved the video. Will you make me one on how to stay organized during school and now? So just this is a great question. I'm assuming, when you say school, this could obviously mean, high school, could mean undergrad, it could mean grad school, it could mean the postdoc. And when you say and now, this could mean after graduation. So I'm going to go ahead and not focus on high school for this video. If you want me to make a video on how to stay organized during high school, go ahead, put that down in the comments below, and I'll do my best to make you a video on that. For undergrad, the key thing is to essentially start thinking about graduate school as soon as you can. For me, I specialize in getting people into clinical psych programs and other types of behavioral health programs, MSW programs if you want to be a social worker, MA counseling programs if you want to be a counselor, so on and so forth. And really, the earlier you can start thinking about this stuff, the better, especially if the kind of degree you want to do has a research component, like a strong research component, like a clinical psychology PhD program. Oh my goodness, when I say you got to start early, I'm talking about like first semester, first year, right? And as soon as possible, we got to establish a variety of different things for you, such as, what is your methodology that you're interested in? What's the clinical population you're interested in working with and researching? And is there a specific phenomenon that you're interested in exploring? If you work one-on-one with me in terms of consultation, I guide you through the entirety of the process. And last year, we had huge success getting people into programs. It was the best year actually that I've ever had in terms of the sheer number of individuals that we got into grad school. It honestly was pretty great. So this year I'm hoping to replicate. It'll be great. Now I've got this stuff down to a science. I've got it down to a system. So make sure to hit me up again via the website below if you're interested in getting some consultation, regardless of where you are in the process. You could be your first year. You could be. I've had people literally the week before submitting their application materials. They want me to do a once over on it, and these things give them comprehensive feedback. One of the reasons you guys probably watch this channel is because I'm super straightforward in a very caring way, and so that's how I try to approach consultation as well. So the question that Jess has, again, is how will you stay organized during school and now? So during undergrad, you need to really get on a game plan. If you do consultation with me, we're going to come up with a very strategic set of milestones for you depending on where you are in your undergraduate journey, and figure out how we can basically max out the chances of you getting into grad school. And the earlier you can do that, the better. Even if you just set up, like I do kickoff consults, which are 2 hours each, where basically, it's important that I get to know everything about you, and then we set up a structured plan, and we figure out the weak points for you right now, and then we figure out strategically how we're going to be able to push you forward, right? So my recommendation, frankly, is as soon as possible. It doesn't have to be me, but it has to be somebody that you know, like, and trust, that you can sit down with and have a serious conversation about graduate school. You should not be taking silly classes that you don't need to take just because you're passionate about them. You can audit those classes later. It's fine, right? Down the line, I will personally make the investment in you. I will buy you a library card, and I will pay your $5 in late fees. And then if you want to learn underwater basket weaving, trust me on this one, I'll find the book for you. I will buy a copy of it on Kindle, and I will personally send it to you, just so that we can make sure that you are on task to be able to get into grad school, because that is the goal. I'll tell you guys, I got 2 PhDs, 0 times. 0. Nobody has ever asked me where I went to undergrad. That's not a thing, right? So the goal of undergrad is to be able to get into graduate school. That's what the goal is. If you actually want to get a leading graduate degree, if you want to get like an MBA from anywhere, or you want to get a PsyD from a school nobody's ever heard of, or an MSW from a school that has bad reputation, then knock yourself out. That's fine. But the people that I work with are the people who want to get into the top programs, right? And so if that's what you want to do, the competition is insanity. For example, clinical psych PhD programs in the US are so competitive now that they literally are more difficult to get into than are medical schools in the US. That is wild to me. Especially because I have a number of family members who are just phenomenal people, and they've all gone to medical school. And it's one of these situations where the sheer thought that I got into graduate programs that were more difficult to get into makes like no logical sense to me, just like legit. Those are brilliant family members that I've got. So regardless of whether it's undergraduate, graduate, or if it's grad school, some general points of guidance that I've got for you are to establish, number one is to establish a predictable sleep-wake cycle, right? This is absolutely critical, right? I understand in undergrad, trust me, I did it too, especially my senior year. I was like Party McGee up in here. And my first year of graduate school, honestly, was the same, and it was a huge mistake. And I prioritized, kind of having fun and going and partying 3 nights a week. That's what I would do. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I would go to town, let me tell you right now. And it was one of these things. Did I have a blast? I did have a blast. And did it end up hampering me in different ways? To be honest with you, yeah, it did. Right? And it really made me look unprofessional, especially when I was in grad school my first year. Grad school the first year, what I find for myself as well as for other individuals, both in my cohort, even though I was a cohort of 1, but other people who were going through programs in my same department, even though it wasn't the same program, right? These were things, interestingly, like these individuals are folks that all have told me the same thing that I experienced, which is basically that, if you keep your kind of like head down in these things your first year, you can get ahead a lot more quickly. But most people, their first year of grad school, the idea is that in undergrad, if your goal was to get into grad school, all of a sudden you've achieved that goal, and then you want to chill and you want to go and make, all new friends, and you want to explore your new city. And I do recommend doing that. I think it's a blast. But just recognize that after your first year is over, what's going to happen is that a new cohort's going to come in, and they're the ones then who are going to be going out and having fun and meeting new people and this kind of stuff, okay? Then what's going to happen is that you're going to have to get really, really serious about your degree, about your graduate degree, especially if you're doing a doctorate, and it stops being fun. And this is when the heat starts to get turned up to a broil, not a boil, a broil, right? And this is the experience that the overwhelming preponderance of individuals have. So one of the best ways to combat that, I always say this, is that you need to make sure that you are getting enough sleep, that your diet is really on track. My recommendation is 100 or fewer grams of carbs a day. If you can get to it, 50 or fewer grams of carbs a day. Why do I say that? So that you're not having insulin spikes and insulin crashes. That's why I'm saying that, right? I was a guy who used to be a much bigger dude. I've lost 77 pounds in the last several years, which is pretty kick-ass. But I can tell you right now, when you're in grad school, if you, especially like me, I'm not a drinker, right? I don't do any drugs or anything like this, but I'm a total stress eater. What can I say, right? And grad school is going to be almost 100% the most stressful thing you've ever done professionally speaking. Okay, sleep-wake cycle, diet and exercise. Get a plan, stick to it, and prioritize it, okay? Number 2 is to prioritize your physical and mental health above those of others. This can be really challenging, especially if you're quite young. Like, I went to Oxford when I was 21 to start my new doctorate, and I was still at that age, guys, where I really cared about what other people thought of me and just what they thought kind of in general. And because of that, if other people wanted to kind of like go out and I was exhausted from the day, I would still go out, right? Because I wanted to fit fit in. I can tell you right now, at that age, that's totally normal, right? And so my mental health would be impacted, my physical health would be impacted because of other individuals. Also, I got into a relationship, which I shouldn't have, with somebody when I was an undergraduate, and she was great, but had a lot of health problems, and I kind of got sucked into that world of the health problems, and essentially doing nothing but taking care of that individual for the time that we were together. And this honestly was a really big mistake. Why? Because again, you watch my other videos, I almost got kicked out of grad school because my oral defense, right? So it's called Transfer Vive in the UK. I failed it the first time, right? I have a whole video on it. I recommend going and watching it. I'm very open with my failures because I think it's really, really important to show that you can fail, and still do great with your career, right? But prioritizing your physical health and mental health above others may seem really selfish. It's not selfish. It's just not. Other people will prioritize theirs over yours, and you should prioritize yours over theirs, okay? Number 3 is to figure out when you're most productive during the day and then really get in the zone during that time of day. For me, I have the exact same schedule almost every day, and if I don't do it, I get totally thrown off. Number 4 is to keep your space clean. This is something that I've only realized over the last couple of years, just how important it is to be able to keep your workspace clean. This workspace that I've got here, I would say that everything is kind of entropy, right? Everything breaks down over time. No matter how clean I try to keep this place, things always start to break down over the course of a week or 2 weeks. I do so many consult sessions. All of my papers here, all the notes that I take when I'm talking to you guys, they kind of pile up and all. And so because of that, I always have to be kind of cleaning everything, but it's a great feeling when everything gets clean. It's as if literally my thinking gets clearer, my planning gets better. Make sure that you maintain a clean and clear workspace. I'm trying to see right now. Yeah, you can see it or whatever. So I keep this big whiteboard behind me. For whatever reason, I always use permanent markers and all, and basically I've got all these different highlighters as well. So this is kind of crazy. Do you guys see how this kind of color coordinates ironically with my jacket? Intentional, obviously. But what happens is that whenever I'm reading, I really like to color coordinate or not color coordinate, but color code things. So I remember when I was in graduate school, for example, I'd be reading articles when I was writing on my doctoral dissertation. What would happen is that, let's say that there was something about methodology, which was really important. I'd highlight that in blue. If it was something that was like a really important reference that I needed to look up later, I'd highlight it in yellow, so on and so forth. And it was a system that only I knew and understood, but it was a system, a workflow got established, and it was a system that really meant a lot to me. And to be honest with you, by now, I've forgotten what the different colors meant in these things. But I've just got, stacks and stacks of hundreds and hundreds of these different articles that still have that color coding. But keep your space clean. Next one is make strategic use of a calendar system. To be honest with you, I'm terrible at this. But I think that it honestly works really well in terms of staying organized. What I do personally is that instead of using a physical calendar, and I do have a physical calendar that kind of looks like this for the entirety of the year, and then I kind of highlight dates that I've got trainings, and I give a ton of trainings per year. I give at least, I would say, 100 hours minimum of trainings per year, and then I do consults, and I run my businesses, and I run a real estate trust, and all sorts of things, right? I've got 6 different jobs that I do, and I enjoy it very much. It takes my time. It allows me to get the things that I want to get and travel when I want to travel in non-pandemic times. Pretty great. But it's a lot of work, and especially in terms of not just physical calendars, but now we've got these digital calendars on Android, on iOS, and so forth, Google Calendars. If you can make use and then stick to that, that is the best thing to do. Honestly, what I do on my phone, which I have an iPhone, is that I basically go in here and I start a note, right? And then literally I have one entire note for the entire year, and I just plot all the different dates out. And I do that on a weekly basis. I've got a personal trainer who I see 3 days a week. I run my men's ministry on Thursdays. I have, meetings set up and consults set up and training set up throughout the weeks. So these things, that's where I track it all, which is kind of fun. And I think it's a good thing. And the final thing is to set goals and stick to them. This is critical. If you aim at something, you can get it. right? But everything needs to be, measured, because if you can measure it, you can manage it. That's the classic saying. And that's really, really important to understand, is that at the end of the day, you need to be really clear about what you want to accomplish, whether it's, studying for the GRE because you want to take it on this very specific date, or if it's something where, you really need on a research methods class or a stats class to be able to max out your grade for the sake of your GPA. Whatever it is, you need to come up with a plan. I do recommend written plans. You can put stuff onto Post-it notes and stick them on your mirror every day, whatever it happens to be. But you have to come up with a system to be able to set up kind of what your goals are going to be. Here in 2021, I've got a ton of goals. One of my big goals is to get more actively involved in philanthropy. Last year, my goal very much was about building Publication Academy, and you can go, it's launched right now. You can go to www.publicationacademy.com to be able to check out the Publication Academy courses. I'll make another video on that at some stage, I'm sure, to be able to tell you guys more about it. But I give very heavy student discounts, so the courses are quite expensive. To be honest with you, though, they're very well worth it. It's the most comprehensive how-to training on how to publish research articles that has ever been developed, ever, in the history of academia since 1700s. It is the largest, most comprehensive, highest definition, best quality, best course materials, everything. That's why it costs so much, right? And it's well worth it. This is the reason why an insane amount of money was put into it, to be able to produce something truly exceptional that's never been accomplished before, and we managed to do it. It's pretty cool. And that was my goal last year. This year, though, all that money that went into Publication Academy, now it's something where I have the money to be able to give back. So I tithe to my church, which is great. I do a variety of different philanthropic things already, but I really want to get more heavily involved in that, right? But that's a broad goal. So what I'm doing this week, and what I've been doing for the past 2 weeks, I would say as well, is talking to a lot of friends, a lot of colleagues, a lot of mentors. And I don't have mentors career-wise, but I do have mentors in terms of, predominantly men who are around me, who are individuals who have very successful marriages, who have been very successful financially, and they're all in different fields than I am, which is why I can't say that they're professional mentors per se, but like as human beings, they're definitely men that I deeply admire, respect, and I want to be like. And the big thing for them is that they've managed to not only be successful, in and of themselves, but they've managed also to be able to develop these lives where they're very civically engaged and philanthropically engaged. So I need to spend a lot more time with people like that this year and get a game plan going for myself and my future family, to be able to get a sense of what to do. And that sounds like a lot of fun to me. So that's my goal, and I'm still trying to operationalize what that means. And that's my aim for you guys as well. You guys can help me for the channel this year. What are the things that we want to prioritize here in 2020? Oh no, oh my God, no more 2020, 2021, for the love of God. 2021, let's not jinx this thing, okay? All right, guys, so I hope that helped. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys all throughout the year. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.